Hi everyone, welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host, Louisa. Today is Thursday, December 13th, 2018. This is a special GoldFish Report with our friend, returning friend, Dr. Scott Werner. Scott, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm grateful to be alive, grateful to be here, and grateful to have a great message today.
Yeah, Scott has a message today, a Saint Germain inspired message about unification, cooperation, and not medication. I'm sorry. I need some medication. I'm not feeling well. Meditation. I'm sorry about that. I'm still under the weather, folks. I've got a bad sore throat. I'm sitting here drinking some hot tea, so bear with me. Why I think this is such a timely, and it always is very, very timely, your messages, Scott, and messages from Saint Germain, is because today in DC, we have two whistleblowers from the Clinton Foundation coming forward and giving testimony on crimes regarding, I think, uranium-1 and possibly money laundering, things of that nature. Then we're going to have Huber come and testify as well. Huber was appointed by former Attorney General Jeff Sessions to look into the Clinton Foundation from the OIG report, which had indicated there were crimes against children. And I think this is going to bring down the House. I think this is going to be explosive, and there's going to be people who really supported and backed the Clintons who aren't ready to hear this. And I think there is going to be a lot of people that are going to have a problem hearing this information. But it's the truth, and it needs to come out. And I think that, Scott, your message is really, really critical today for people who are about to hear some really, let me say, very explosive. This is treason. This is betrayal from people who we trusted, and in ways that we could have never imagined and hope would never happen. But it's going to be revealed. So, in terms of your message today, I'm going to let you go ahead and deliver that, because I think people are going to need this this direction and advice. So thanks.
Yes, there is power in prayer and meditation, probably more power than we realize. And so to start out, I'd like to start with what Saint Germain told me to start with, which is the power of prayer. Now, even Jesus and his disciples, they said to him, Jesus, how should we pray? And in Matthew 6, 9 through 12, they come out with the Lord's Prayer. Now, I was told to say this every day, literally 8 years ago. A psychic walked into my office and she said, Scott, you need more protection. You need to say the Lord's Prayer every day. And I know there's a lot of people out there, who have heard this prayer, but they really don't understand it. And I'd like to go through that really quickly. It is, and I've got it memorized now because I've been doing it the last 8 years. And it starts out, Our Father who art in heaven, which is calling upon the heavenly energies. And you can say Our Mother who art in heaven also, because the feminine energy is very powerful right now. And we're going into the feminine energy, which will get us out of all the chaos and crap we've been in with the cabal, because it's been a more military, male dominated energy, and it's time to move into the more nurturing, loving, feminine energy. And so, hallowed be thy name. In other words, we pay homage to the divine. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. So we're praying that the earth change to what it's like in the higher realms, the higher dimensions, where there's peace, vitality, there's calmness, there's love, consciousness, and it's a much more powerful place to be. And we want the earth to be that way, and believe it or not, it's going to be that way, because we're going to go through the ascension process here on the earth. And that's going to bring us into a heaven on earth. Give us this day our daily bread. Now, it's interesting how that statement is, because Jesus always fed the people, not only physically, but spiritually. And so we ask that we're given our daily bread, or our daily supply of information and food, in this physical state. But we also need to feed our souls and our emotions and our minds with good positive material. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Now, the King James Version says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And both of those are similar, and yet we really are indebted due to our karmic things. And we are literally, as we forgive those who have debted us or trespassed, we have the karma removed from us, because the lords of karma are here to mitigate all of our debts, all of our trespasses, and they are removing them so we can move on through to the ascension. Because if we hold on to those debts, we don't forgive our debtors, we don't forgive our trespasses, and we don't have others forgive our trespasses, we're going to be stuck with these energies. And so they need to be cleared, and they are being cleared. So Saint Germain wants us to know that this is happening right now. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now that's very powerful, because, we're all being tempted to believe things that are not true. We're all being brought into this anger, into the chaos. And we need to let go of that and let go of the temptation to believe these things, because when humans feed into the temptation of listening to gossip, listening to things that are not correct and not true, it takes our energy, and we feed that energy into those things. And deliver us from evil, because there is a lot of that in the world today. And by making that statement to God to deliver us from the evil, it actually does do that. So a very powerful prayer presented to us by Jesus. And he ends it with, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Now that means that we give ourselves to the divine. We know that God is going to take care of us, and we give him our power rather than those who seek to steal our power for evil. And so just, Saint Germain wanted me to open with that, because that prayer is so powerful. If you don't know what to say the Lord's Prayer, because it will give you inspiration. It will take your power back. Go ahead.
I would include the serenity prayer with that. You might ask Saint Germain.
Yes.
Serenity.
Oh, go ahead. Yes. Yeah, the serenity prayer, knowing what you can change and what you can't, is very smart. But the thing is, we can change everything through our thoughts. We are creating our current world, and we, through our thoughts, can create a better world. And that's where the next message comes in about meditation and cooperation and communion, because that comes through meditation. So I'm going to go into a little bit about meditation. Now, in preparing for meditation, we have to purify our bodies. Right now, we're getting hit by nanobots that are infecting us and controlling our nervous system, our minds, causing a lot of pain and problems, because they stick their little tentacles into our nervous system and deliver messages that are very negative. And negativity is very painful to our physical bodies. You talk about the opioid crisis, it's because of all of this infiltration in our bodies of the negative energies and negative thought forms, and even damage to our physical bodies that's creating this crisis. Opioids deaden pain, and I've taught people for years it even deadens emotional pain. And most of us are in horrible emotional pain. And, oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's the problem. I think that's why people get so addicted to it. It's kind of like alcohol as well. I mean, it does deaden the emotions, and the emotional pain is what's, I think, almost much harder to deal with. Physical pain's pretty bad too. You need it for that. When you have it for that, you need it, but it's not prescribed for emotional pain.
Yeah. So in preparing for meditation, you have to prep your physical body by cleansing it of all these things that are numbing us, literally numbing our bodies. Because when you go into meditation, believe it or not, it enlightens your senses. And I'm supposed to describe what happens with meditation is it starts in our root chakra. When you take that cleansing breath to start meditating, you're actually connecting to the breath and the earth. Now, the breath connects us to God, and releasing the breath goes down into the elemental or the earth energy. And so it starts down in our root chakra, and then it arises up and comes up into our creative chakra. Now, one of the things Saint Germain has taught me is how to create more DNA in our bodies and get rid of the adulterated DNA or the DNA that's been damaged, causing us to get cancers, causing us to get disease, chronic autoimmune things. Literally they've infiltrated our DNA with viruses, nanobots, nanoparticles, nanobits, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of those negative thought forms are actually damaging our DNA. And so we need to prep our bodies by cleansing it. And one of the ways to do that is create perfected DNA in our bodies. So when we move the energy of our meditation up into that creative chakra, we contemplate creating perfected 24 strands of DNA in 12 double helix. Now, what does this do for us? This actually will make us healthier, stronger, more powerful. It will get rid of our diseases. And so clearing up the physical body is very important. Now, the other thing they're doing to us, to our physical body, is we're getting adulterated with a lot of toxins, toxic chemicals. Literally, this isn't talked about very much, but our atmosphere has been adulterated with chemtrails, but also all of the pollution and chemicals being spewed into the atmosphere. We're getting hit with lead from all of the gasoline they're using in China. They don't have a law to keep the lead out of the gasoline. And so in order to use cheaper fuel, they add lead to keep the engines from knocking and doing all the stuff that we added lead in for years and years. And that is getting spewed into the atmosphere, travels through the airstreams, and hits us in the United States. So I'm seeing a rise in people with lead poisoning, believe it or not. And this is from all of these pollutants in the atmosphere. Now, the other thing that's happening is we're getting a rise in COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and that comes from pollution damaging and causing fibrosis or scarring of our alveoli and our bronchioles, and it's causing people to be unable to breathe. And COPD has moved from number 6 killer in the United States to the number 4 killer in the United States. And so, these injuries to our physical body are causing trouble. And so Saint Germain wanted me to say, we do have ways of cleaning up our lungs and our body and making our health better. And the 24-strand DNA is extremely important, but also doing cleanses and detoxes from petrochemicals and heavy metals is very important. And he told me to put ours from our office on sale through the entire year of the end of this year and through next year at 20% off. And that's a good deal because, you know, these companies that I deal with, they very seldom give us discounts. And so I've been begging them to give us discounts so that we can sell the products for cheaper. And so we do have that available, and we have a lung protocol, a 90-day detox that gets rid of heavy metals and chemicals and fungus and all kinds of stuff, because we're getting hit with these mutated viruses, fungus, bacteria. And they're hitting the very spiritual leaders. I got a call this last week from a very spiritual leader in St. Louis, Missouri, who is doing very, very important work, and yet she's sick as a dog. And I got really strong. She got infected with these alien flukes. Now, a fluke is a flatworm, and the regular human flukes are the size of a pinhead. And these alien flukes get up to the size of a large man's fist. And I've seen several of them pass from people, and they've shot me pictures and all kinds of stuff. It's been really interesting. And what I found is they're infiltrating these alien parasites with nanobots, nanites, viruses, fungus, bad bacteria, bad fungus, and it's causing people to get very, very ill. They go to their medical doctors and they get all these examinations, literally the $10,000 workup, and the doctors can't find anything wrong with them. And so they either tell them they're psycho, or it's just gastritis, if they're kinder. And what I found, there's actual reasons why they're feeling so crappy is they're infiltrated with these blasted alien parasites that were brought here from other worlds. And they're using them to control people. And it's amazing because a lot of the spiritual leaders, the spiritual manifestors, are getting hit with these things. And so it's very important to clean our bodies out of these parasites, fungus, bad bacteria, so we can be healthy enough to focus our attention and our intention on meditating and prayer. Because let me tell you, when you feel like crap, it's hard to focus. And that's their objective, is to keep us from focusing on the good, focusing on the wonderful things. Because when you're sick and you're feeling like crap, it's hard to focus on the positive. And so, and they know that, and that's why I'm giving this message out. So the physical body, it's important to have a knowledge of cleansing and consecration of the physical body. Now, we're all infected with these things. I'm doing parasite cleanses all the time, but I've been doing it for 31 years because of the malignant melanoma that got me started doing these parasite cleanses in the first place, and antifungals and antivirals, and then detoxing. But it's interesting, attuning to the unity consciousness. Now, this comes through the emotional body, believe it or not, through your solar plexus. So as we move up from our earth energy, or the root chakra, then we move into the creative chakra, and we create a healthier physical body. We create healthier DNA. And then we move into the solar plexus, and we go in that to create unity consciousness. Now, what is unity consciousness? Unity consciousness is the perfect love of God. In other words, we focus on pure, unconditional Christ consciousness love. Now, why is this important? Because that puts us into the consciousness and the emotion of God's love. And so as we breathe, as we meditate, we concentrate on that love consciousness from God. And that makes us ready to move up into the heart chakra, which from the heart chakra, we expand that energy. Now, it's interesting as you think about this. They're talking about how our solar plexus is the second brain because we feel things in our gut. You know, we know things in our gut and we receive messages through our gut. And so putting it in that love consciousness will help heal gut problems and prepares us to move into our heart energy. Now, the heart energy, you know, the gut energy is in millivolts. The heart energy is in kilovolts, which is 1,000,000 times stronger than the energy in the gut. So as we move up to the heart chakra, that energy will multiply it by 1,000,000 times. And if we're in that love consciousness, a pure love consciousness, imagine the amount of energy that you send out when you hit the heart. You literally put that love consciousness out to all the other humans. And then, you know, we go up into our throat and you can actually do toning, mantras, all kinds of things once you get in that love consciousness. And one of the things I do is toning, and I'm supposed to do for you the heart toning, the love conscious toning, and I'll do that right now. And that consciousness comes out from your throat as you've connected all of those good things for the healing of the physical body, the healing of the DNA, the healing of the emotions, the healing of the heart energy. Move it up into that throat chakra and give out an om, sing out an om, because it's very, very powerful. And those vibrations not only hit around you, but they go out completely on the planet Earth and out into the universe. The reason why a lot of aliens are here watching what's happening to the humans is because whatever happens to us right now is going to happen to the universe, because we are creating our future. And they're very concerned about us humans because the cabal has been trying to enslave us and enslave the entire universe, believe it or not. And the AI, if it doesn't have that human love consciousness, it will not be a good energy intelligence to send out into the universe. And Saint Germain had me write a whole chapter of that in my book, The Next Step in Human Evolution, about artificial intelligence and the cabal. You know, I was watching a special with Elon Musk. You know, believe it or not, my daughter worked for Elon Musk. And he was a perfectionist, and he demanded his employees to be intelligent and hardworking. She said it was the hardest job she's ever done, but it was very inspiring because she had to do the best she could. And he would test all of his employees every year, give them this test, and if they didn't score, you know, the test went from 0 to 5, and if they didn't score 4 or above, they were fired. And, you know, it freaked my daughter out every time she had to take this test. And luckily she got 4 or 5 every time. But finally the stress got to her and she decided to quit and go work for another firm. And, but, you know, listening to Elon Musk, you know, he even is aware of the dangers of artificial intelligence and was talking about it on an HBO special the other day. And, you know, it's quite interesting watching his contemplation about this, because he realizes, you know, he's developed it for his cars. I mean, you know, we went driving with our son who also works for Tesla. He's our son-in-law, but he had a Tesla. And literally, you know, he just let go of the steering wheel and the car drove itself. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. This was my first time being in a, an artificial intelligently driven car. And it was a little freaky to me because our son-in-law kept turning around talking to us, not watching the road, and I was sitting there going, whoa, this is weird. But these things are going on. And so we need to express the love consciousness and get it out there. Believe it or not, every one of us humans have this power. And developing this power is going to help you be healthier, stronger, and convey out that love consciousness, making our world a better place. So then next you move in, when you're meditating, believe it or not, when you start stimulating the sexual chakra or the creative chakra, I like calling it the creative chakra, it actually sends signals up to the pituitary gland and the pineal gland. Now, one of the ways the Kabbalah has been suppressing us is giving us fluoride and chlorine and all these different things. And, they're halogenated hydrocarbon molecules. And they're very toxic, but they suppress the pineal and the pituitary gland. A lot of people are having a problem with their sleep and their visions and dreams. And so we move up from the throat chakra to the third eye, which is directly associated with the pituitary gland. That is the gland of the third eye, and it is also the gland of vision. If you think about it, the optic chiasm, which is the place where the vision goes from right to left, is right above the pituitary gland, and it communicates with the pituitary gland. And through that communication, your third eye has power, and you can see other dimensions. We as humans have that ability. Now, well, the medical doctors call that, when you see stuff, they call it crazy, you're psychotic, you're schizophrenic, and they give us drugs to suppress those abilities. And it also comes through our hearing. We can hear voices from other dimensions. And when we, go in the doctor, are you hearing voices? Oh yeah, I hear them all the time. Then they give you drugs to suppress that ability, because we do have those psychic abilities. And so, when I was a young kid, I could hear the other side, and I chose to only listen to the positive voices. And my brother chose to listen to the negative voices, and he was diagnosed, paranoid schizophrenic, because he started, when you listen to those bad voices, they tell you to do stuff that's not so nice, and he started doing stuff that wasn't so nice, and so he ended up being on some heavy drugs his entire life, and he just died this last year from side effects from these powerful antipsychotics. And he wasn't that old. He was only 65. So kind of interesting to see what's happening to people. Now, I get people all the time coming in, and literally they're possessed. They're possessed by entities, by demons, by reptilians, and we have the power to access these. Now, Jesus, when he was healing people, 60% of the time he cast out demons and negative entities. And so, you read about that and you go, wow, that was a major problem. Well, guess what? It's still a major problem. And doing clearings on these people helps send these forces to where they can't harm people. And a lot of the entities are people who have died, who did things that were bad, and they feel like they can't go to God. And so when they see the light, they don't go because they feel guilty and unworthy of going. And what's interesting is all of us have done things that haven't been perfect, haven't been, godly. And we are clearing those things now, and we're sending these entities to God's source to clear them so they can, have another, evolve, so that they can evolve. You know, when I tell these entities you can evolve, they're like, no, we can't. And I'm like, yes, you can. You can move on and have got clear all of what you've done. And that's being done for all of us now by the lords of karma. So very important. And then let's move up. And so as you're stimulating this, believe it or not, meditation is very good for your health. Why? It turns these glands back on. Every chakra is associated with glands. And our glands are being suppressed by all the toxins and chemicals and different problems. I mean, radiation is one of the biggest problems for our thyroid gland.
Right.
Because it shuts it down and burns out the thyroid cells producing the thyroxine and the T3, the T4, the hormones. It's called a functional gland because it affects every cell in the body and the metabolism of the body. And that's with the throat chakra. So doing the love consciousness toning actually clears that chakra. Now, the pineal gland is the highest. And as you go up into the pineal gland, it produces the serotonin and melatonin. The reason why people aren't sleeping decent, because we're not getting enough serotonin or melatonin. And the other hormone produced by the pineal gland is DMT, dimethyltryptophan, which is what I call the God hormone. It's what elevates when you take ayahuasca. It's what elevates when you do psychedelic drugs. It actually stimulates more DMT. Now, LSD is kind of a harsh one, and it's very adulterated, and I don't recommend it to people. I recommend cleaning out your pineal gland and getting it functional so that you can have the visions and dreams that you need to have. And these connect you to God. Currently in the United States, we've got over 60% of people who feel no connection to God. And it's because their pineal gland is totally shut down from all the toxins, chemicals, fluoride, and chlorine. And so now you kind of understand why our government's been moving to remove God from the Constitution, from the government, from our schools, because people don't have that connection anymore. And we need to reconnect with our pineal and our ability to connect with energies that created our universe. Because literally, when you lose that connection, it's hard to believe there's a higher power. And it's very important to clean that up so you can reconnect. I've helped many, many people re-stimulate their pineal glands, not only through toning, but through cleansing, getting the fluoride, chlorine, and chemicals and heavy metals out of our body. They talk about aluminum and mercury and these different heavy metals. Aluminum is in everybody that has Alzheimer's in higher levels, and we've had our skies adulterated with aluminum. Believe it or not, the part of the chemtrails have aluminum oxide in, and they say, oh, it's because we're seeding the clouds and trying to create rainfall and different things. But the thing is, it's still aluminum, and it's a toxic heavy metal. And so cleaning out these heavy metals is very good for your pineal gland and the rest of your body, for that matter, the brain tissue. So we actually have a brain protocol that we're doing through Health and Longevity that helps clean up the brain and helps, we're all getting forgetful. We forget words. We forget what we're saying. Believe it or not, I was having that trouble. And I've been doing my own protocol, and it's helped clear my mind, and I'm not losing words anymore. It's very nice. I've tapped back in and gotten rid of those heavy metals, toxins, and so my brain is working much better, much better. So now they call this, now when you go, I'm going to go back a little bit, go back down to the solar plexus, because it's interesting as you connect to the earth, then you connect to your creative center or sacral plexus, then you move up into the solar plexus, and the the old psychics and sages of the past called this the Appian Way. And what it was is it's our silver cord is what we come into with our umbilical cord. And as our soul enters into our body, it enters through that silver cord. Now, when you think about that silver cord, I was taught by a lady by the name of Catherine Beck, a very famous psychic here in America. And she took me in after I went through my happy experience with the government. And she helped me clear out all my anger, but she also taught me many spiritual things, especially about that silver cord, or the Appian Way that they call it through. The Appian Way is the way to peace, the way to contentment. It was an old way in the ancient world. And they said, go on the Appian Way whenever they were telling people goodbye, because the Appian Way was the way to peace and contentment. And that is also the silver cord. So connecting that silver cord back to your soul is very important. We have what they call the mighty I am presence. Each one of us has what they call the mighty I am presence. And in the Saint Germain teachings, they teach about this. And the mighty I am presence was what was first created by God that made our higher self or our higher soul. And we connect through that, through the Appian Way, through our silver cord back to our higher self or our connection to God. So if you feel like you're disconnected to God, when you're meditating, connect that Appian Way or the silver cord and send love to your mighty I am presence. Even the thought of sending love will make that connection. So send love to your mighty I am presence, and believe it or not, right away you're connected, and that connects you to those higher energies that are connected to God. And it brings you knowledge, it brings you peace, it brings you connectivity and contentment. Now, the reason I'm going back to this is that is a very powerful connection. And then as you move into your heart, you move into that love energy, and you move up into your throat, do some toning, do some decrees. If you don't know how to sing, just decree, I am connected to God. I am the light. I am the resurrection and the life. Making those kind of statements is very powerful, and it connects you not only to your higher self, but all the universe. And it actually brings power back into your body. They found through scientific studies, meditation increases your life vitality. Now, what is vitality? Vitality, when you eat fresh foods, they have vital force. And you can see that vital force with Karelian photography. Now, Karelian photography was developed by a scientist in Russia. Those Russians, they've developed a lot of different things. And I had a guy who had a Karelian video camera that would do real-time video of your auric field. And he put the camera on me and he said, think about love consciousness. And I thought about love, and my auric field just went woof, bright as could be. And then he said, think about something that makes you really angry. And all of a sudden my auric field went down, became more red, more concentrated, and didn't look as beautiful and full of light. And we went through a bunch of different emotions, and every emotion shifted my auric field and changed it very rapidly. I mean, instantaneously with the thought. And so it's so important that we stay in positive thoughts. in positive things and get rid of those negative thoughts, cancel them. By saying I cancel that thought, believe it or not, it cancels right away and your arc field will change and get rid of that negative thought. And so we need to stay in positive thought forms because they do create energy and end up creating matter within our body, creating diseases and different problems. And so it's so important to get that Appian way connected to your mighty I am presence through the love that you send yourself. Now, one of the biggest problems I've seen with people with disease, they don't love themselves, especially cancer. Cancer is created by our own lack of our self-love, believe it or not. And a lot of us don't love ourselves. And we need to stand in front of a mirror. I tell people with cancer, you got to stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes, because those are the windows to your universe. And you look at yourself and say, I love you, Scott Werner. I love you, Scott Werner. Well, you don't say that. You say, I love you, whatever your name is. And I love you, whatever your name is. And do it 3 times at least, morning and night. And believe it or not, just saying that to yourself opens up your universe to love and loving yourself, because you need to love yourself. You're a creation of God, and God is love. And when we don't love ourselves, we actually create disease in us. And cancer is at the highest level. It surpassed heart disease as the cause of death. You know, I mean, here we've been doing cancer research and all kinds of stuff. There are cures to cancer, by the way. And, I probably can't say that, but I'm saying that spiritually.
Oh, come on. There's cures for cancer. I'll say it. There's cures for cancer. There's a lot of cures for cancer, but there's no money for the pharmaceutical companies in it. But that's going to change soon. Okay, yes. I said it, Scott, not you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Had to be said.
Yes, and so just know that loving yourself will help. No matter what, it'll help your body's health. It'll help get rid of those cells that have become mutated and creating the cancer. Cancer is a mutation of your cells through parasites, fungus, virus, and emotions. And so creating cancer is through our negative thought forms is where it starts. Our lack of self-love, our self-hate, whatever it is. So if you have any negative thoughts going on in your head about yourself, cancel them. Cancel them. Just say, I cancel that thought, and replace it with love. If you can't think of the opposite, fear, the opposite of fear is faith. The opposite of anger is love. The opposite of most negative thoughts is love. And so love yourself and tell yourself, looking in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes and tell yourself, I love myself. Okay, but say your name, because it's much more powerful. Now, during the rising of the currents along this silver cord, and in those centers, a body may become conscious of distinct vibrations. In other words, you're going to feel things in your body you may not have felt before. And they're good because they're stimulating good energies in your body. When I meditate, I always feel lighter. I feel like I can fly, literally. And I feel all the negative emotions going away. Yes, I still have them. And, it was interesting. A week ago, literally a week ago, I was being attacked by the cabal. And I asked, Jesus to come help me. And Jesus said to me, Scott, they're getting in through your negative thoughts. They have no power over you if you keep your thoughts positive. You keep your body positive and get rid of all your negative thinking. They won't have any power whatsoever over you. So just know, clearing all the negative thought forms, clearing out your negativity, your doubts, your own self-love, cleaning that up and making it more powerful, is your best protection against all the negativity, all of the bad stuff in the world. Now, there's a lot of people out there I can sense are saying, it's impossible to get rid of all these bad thought forms. No, it is possible. And I'm here to tell you, as soon as Jesus told me that, and I cleaned out all those negative thought forms, I felt so dang much better. And it was like it put this shield around me, and they call it the shield of God. They call the sword of God and the shield of God. Well, having good thoughts, having positive thoughts and love surrounds you with the shield of God. And then you have this sword of God that appears, and you can actually cut off any negativity everywhere, even out of other people. And so just know we have these powers within us. And Saint Germain wants me to reiterate that so that you understand that. Now, the mental body is very powerful also, because our thoughts create our emotions, create what we are doing, and create what we're thinking about. And so whenever you have a negative thought, cancel that. Just like negative emotions, negative thoughts can create things. And so we have to cleanse our mental body. Not only cleanse our emotional body, but cleanse our mental body. And very important to purge yourself. Now, when we talk about that, we're going to go into the soul. I kind of talked a little bit about the soul, and our souls are endowed with gifts that we're not even, we haven't even looked at. And our souls are so powerful that when we attune our souls to God or the love consciousness, we empower ourselves with the powers of heaven. And we are creators. We were created in the likeness and image of the Creator, which means we have the same powers as the Creator. Now, human beings, they look at me when I say we have the powers of the Creator. They look at, we don't have those powers. And I'm like, we build cars, we build beautiful homes, we build computers, we build skyscrapers. Don't tell me we're not creators, because we've created an entire world. And so one of the things that Saint Germain wanted me to say is proper attunement is necessary for true meditation. So we attune our bodies to the love consciousness, or what Maharishi called it the unity consciousness, the unity vibration. And that unity vibration connects us to the universe, believe it or not. And so the soul, our soul is connected to the universe, and we can expand that. Now, one of the meditations I do is I visualize a little ball of heart's love, and all of us can do that. Just put a pinpoint of light in your heart, and then you expand it to the size of your heart with your breath. So you breathe in, expand that light to the size of your heart, and then you breathe out, and then you breathe in again, bringing in more love consciousness, and expand that to the size of your chest, and then breathe out. And then you expand it again as you breathe in the love consciousness, bring it out to a ball around your entire body. And then you breathe out, and then you breathe in again, expand it around your entire home, and then breathe out, then breathe in, expand it around your entire community with that love consciousness, and then you breathe out. Now expand it around the entire country. Expand that love consciousness out around the entire country. Now, believe it or not, everybody is going to feel this love energy, because you're expanding it outside from yourself, and we have that power. And so breathe out, breathe in again, expand it around the entire earth, and then breathe out. Then expand it out through our entire solar system. breathe out. Then expand it around the entire Milky Way. Believe it or not, that energy is coming from your God self and expanding out into the entire Milky Way. And then breathe out. Breathe in. Expand it out into the entire multiverse. And if all us humans were doing this all at once, believe it or not, it would shift everything. And that's what we need to get to, is the point where all of us are in this unity consciousness and expanding the love throughout our earth, throughout our solar system, throughout the Milky Way, throughout the universe. That's why we're going to change the universe. Because there's been a lot of crap going on, not only here on Earth, but out on the other planets that, you know, our secret space force, I don't know, you know, it's interesting. I didn't even know, I knew a little bit about it because I had people retiring from Area 51 telling me about it. And I thought, you know, this is pretty crazy stuff. You know, that's the kind of thoughts that went through my mind at the time. And then when Saint Germain led me to some of the people who were involved with disclosure and getting, you know, these free energy devices available, even replicators, med beds, all this technology is there, but it's not been opened up to the entire population. And Saint Germain wants it opened up. He wants disclosure. He wants free energy devices so we can clean up the planet. He wants all of these technology that's benevolent and good to be out to all of us very quickly. And so hopefully, you know, this week, Louisa was talking about how important this week is, because there's a lot of whistleblowers coming out and telling the truth about what's going on. You know, we've had Stephen Greer trying to do disclosure for almost 40 years now. And, you know, we have beautiful movies, we have all kinds of information, and we need to disseminate this information. But the most important thing is we need to open up the consciousness of all the humans through creating this unity consciousness through our meditations, through our prayers, through our cleansing our own body. When we clean up ourselves, believe it or not, it affects millions of other people. Literally, when you clean up all your thoughts, all your thought forms, all your past creations, your past mistakes, you clear energy involving other humans. Because we've all interacted, and we've interacted in despicable ways sometimes. And by cleaning up ourselves, we actually cleanse the body of Christ, which is the body of all the humans. And so we are going to be creating a better universe for all of us. So just know it's very, very powerful. Do you have any questions? I mean, that's quite a deep subject.
No, it's great. I mean, look, I can barely talk. My throat is so sore.
Oh, well, I'm grateful I've been doing all the talking then.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's not really working, that tea, but I'll have to get some more. My throat's just swollen. I can't talk really. But okay.
Well, we bless you that your throat gets better quickly.
Thanks. No, I think what, you know, you had said was really important. And I think the message about the unification and the cooperation, really what you're saying is a message that Winston repeated many times, is take personal responsibility for yourself. We've been programmed, Scott. Look, somebody, Q Anon did this Q&A, okay? Someone asked Q some questions. Like, he's like the authority on everything. And plus, Q he says disinfo is necessary. I just have to mute you for a second because I'm getting some feedback. I'm sorry, Scott. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know why I'm getting this feedback. Just for a minute. Okay, so that took care of that. Okay, so So they were asking people questions about, was JFK Jr. alive? And, you know, he said no. Of course he's going to say no. You know, they asked him, is the earth, you know, flat? And he said no. And it was just like, look, people, if you really have to ask other people those questions, it's really sad. You know, I mean, we have to take personal responsibility. We are so programmed. We've been so programmed to just believe whatever people tell us and not trust your own two eyes, not trust your own ability to critically think, not trust your own ability. You know, it doesn't even matter in the end. I mean, in some ways it does matter. In some ways, and I can tell you, you know, I've made my own physical observations, and there is reason to question these things. But to think that one person, you know, who is anonymous, who says disinfo is necessary, and then they publish it all over the place, like, oh, okay, well, Q said it, so it must be true. I mean, it's like, you can't be, we're so gullible. We have to take personal responsibility. And Winston talked about this all the time. And this is exactly what you're talking about. And really, in many ways, it's what Saint Germain is talking about as well. Know thyself. That's what this is all about, Scott. And let me unmute you. This is teaching us to know thyself and take responsibility for thyself and thy vessel.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes. You know, the best thing you can do is clean up yourself, because believe it or not, that is going to help the world. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people are probably thinking, well, I'm hearing these thoughts, you know, I'm so connected right now that I hear thoughts as I say stuff. I hear these thoughts. And yes, you have the power. You have that ability to change the earth. And by each individual doing their part, taking their responsibility and shifting your consciousness through meditation and prayer, and ascending your consciousness into the love consciousness, you're going to shift everybody and everything. Our psychic abilities are so powerful that I just want to tell you, every one of us is vital to this. Even the people who have done bad things, they can repent and do good things and clear all of their karma, clear all of that negativity, clear all of that energy that they created, that created negative energies and things and damaged other people. You can clear that out and heal everybody that you've harmed, believe it or not. And we have that power within each one of us. So just shifting yourself, and even if you tell yourself, oh, I've done too many bad things. No, all of us have done too many bad things. That's why we've created all this chaos, all the problems. We need to get ourselves back into the love consciousness through meditation and prayer, and you can shift everything in everyone. So, you know, Saint Germain is just telling me, focus on the shift of everyone, because we've got to wake everybody up. And the reason most of us are asleep is we've given our energy out to someone else. We've given our energy out to the AI. We've given our energy out to the cabal. We've given our energy out to hurting someone. And by taking responsibility and clearing that, and we have the Lords of Karma here clearing our karma. So anything you've done, even if it's been horrible, even if you murdered somebody, you can clear that and change it. You know, we humans have the ability to go back and change what we did. Even if it's been done in the physical, you can go back in time and shift that timeline. Like if you killed somebody, you can go back and not do it and shift that timeline, bring forward that new timeline, and it heals it and gets rid of it. Very, very powerful. We as humans have that ability. And so do it. Go back and clean up the crap that you've done. And, if you don't know, pray and ask, what have I done in my many lifetimes? And you can go back and clear those things as they come in your meditation and prayers. And they will cleanse your all your bodies, your soul, your mind, your emotions, the physical body, and make you healthier, stronger, and more perfected. So just know you have those abilities. I do that with people all the time. And they feel the shift in their bodies. They feel sensations and clearing, and it's beautiful. And we all have that capacity to do that.
So in terms of helping people today try to deal with and cope with some very disturbing news that's going to come out, what is there anything more that you or Saint Germain wants to leave with people to help them?
Saint Germain is an ascended master, and he loves everybody. I want to get there. And so, I think about some of the things that I've learned, and I go, God, I hope they put them in jail. And, it's interesting. Even that thought is not my concern. So I have to clear out those thoughts and go, I love them. I'm sorry for what they've done. I ho'oponopono them, basically. Right. I love you. I'm sorry that you did that. Please forgive me for my thoughts that have been created, that I want to put you in jail. Those type of things. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for my own negative thoughts. And thank you for teaching me what I don't desire in my life. And I love you. And I always end it with, I love you again, because that love will clear out your negative thought forms. And I love Ho'oponopono. When I had the kahunas appear to me, literally they appeared to me in 2011 when I was in Hawaii writing my first book. And they told me, you need to write about this stuff. And the kahunas are the ones who taught Ho'oponopono. And Ho'oponopono is one of the most powerful things you can do. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you for who you are. And, it literally clears your soul. It clears their soul. Very, very powerful.
Well, I agree. I think that there's some.
And so we need to Ho'oponopono a lot this next little while.
Okay. I just had to mute you for a second. I'm sorry, but because I'm getting feedback and echo, and so you're muted just for a second, Scott. I'm sorry, but I kept hearing it. I don't know if it was on the recording too, but yeah. So I think that the bottom line is that there are going to be some crimes that are only going to be forgivable in the eyes of God, if God deems that. So we're going to learn about some very serious crimes, and they will. Forgiveness is not really going to help. There's some things that have to be prosecuted. People have to be held accountable, and they have to be punished for what they did because they knowingly did it. It's not like an innocent crime where it's like you're driving down the road and you realize you're speeding and you weren't trying to speed and you get pulled over and get a ticket. It's like, you have to keep your eyes on the road. Sometimes you can't always have them on the speedometer. So sometimes, it fluctuates. What can I say? It's like the dumbest thing to be given a ticket for, because sometimes you just have to watch the road. Hello? You can't always watch that speedometer. And I'm not saying, if you're going 90 miles an hour, then, you really need a wake-up call. But, 5-10 miles over a speed limit, I think it's that kind of thing. But, some crimes are just too egregious, especially against children, especially innocent children and vulnerable people. And, they do need to be held accountable. And I think that, as you're saying, having, just letting the judicial process go into its, the due process, the due course. So it's allow that to happen, because it is unfolding, and President Trump ran on draining the swamp, and he's going to. We've been doing our POTUS reports to make sure that, and he is. So trust that you don't need to take any action. In other words, Scott, people don't need to go into the street and start rioting because there's action being taken. We can look and see that there's somebody who is holding these people accountable, and there's no need to go riot. There's no need to be violent or anything like that. So it's going to be a little traumatizing for some people, I think, but I think all these messages that you're saying are just very important. Stay within yourself, stay within, what Saint Germain is saying. Avoid the negative energies, and it's a challenge. Like, we live in a 3D world, it's changing, but it's all around us. This is duality consciousness. This is all about duality here. We all had to experience it. We all agreed to experience it. Now it's time for us to move beyond it.
Yes, and it's time for us to change inside. And you are speaking the truth. There's going to be a lot of traumatic things coming out in the news. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be exposed. And our job isn't to judge them. Let the military tribunals do their thing. Our job is to lovingly assist all of the humanity, because it is one of the things that this may create is more chaos for a short time. So it's very important that we hold that positivity, that love consciousness, because it will unify all the people and keep things calmer, more peaceful, more loving. And just know that some of these souls have been so damaged by what they've done that they will be taken to the great central sun, and their souls will be reabsorbed. And so they can't cause more problems out in the universe again. So just know we have a loving God that's going to take care of that. And, and for right now, we just need to be loving and kind and assist the peace to stay present here in the United States, because we're going to become the beacon for the whole world. And so it's very important that we help the world understand that we are in alignment with the ascended masters. We're in alignment with the Creator. We're in alignment with the peace and the abundance, and we will spread this out to the whole world.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Scott. What a beautiful message today. And I think it was, as usual, very timely. So thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody for listening. I've still got my faults, but I'm doing my best to align myself with the Christ consciousness and the ascended masters. And so just know that's where I'm at. That's where my intent is. And I apologize if I ever misconstrue or say something that might hurt anybody's feelings or whatever. It's not my intent. My intent is to unify us with the unity consciousness, which will heal us all.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much. And I will see you next time with another timely message as usual. Oh, I'm getting a big feedback. Okay, I had to mute that. I'm so sorry. I just kept hearing myself echo. I had to mute that. So I want to thank you so much. And I'll put, any information anyone wants to contact Scott, we'll put that information in the description section also. But I think it's a wonderful message, very timely. And I think this is really finally, time for us to get that ball rolling and start, the Great Awakening is underway. And part of that, Scott, it's this cooperation that you're talking about. It's the unification. And go ahead.
One last thing. My wife's book is finally out. We're getting a shipment to our office, hopefully this weekend. It's called The Secret of Healing and Recovery. She's got healing things in here that are amazing and good. So I'd recommend getting this, because this will help you heal also. And send it to your friends for Christmas, because They actually got more books on Amazon, and so they're coming, and we're going to offer free shipping to anybody who wants to get the book. And so call 435-986-0025. We're not open till 11 o'clock, which is another hour. So God bless each and every one of you.
Oh, well, thanks for that. And I want to thank you again, Scott. We'll see you next time. Oh, we have something else.
Supposed to give a final blessing. It's going to be very quick.
Okay, I'll do that.
In the name of the Creator of the universe, and by command of the Ascended Masters, the seven Elohim, and all of the cosmic beings of light and love, we bless each and every one of you to receive healing, to receive love, to receive the consciousness of unity with the alignment with the Creator. And we bless you that your ailments will be healed. We bless you that your DNA will be healed and perfected. We bless you that every cell in your body will receive the love of God and be healed now. In the name of the Almighty Creator of the universe. Amen. So be it. So it is.
So it is.
I saw a little of that gold again.
Yeah, I saw definitely some changes in the lighting around you for sure.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's more like white light, actually, like much brighter white.
Yes.
Well, Scott, thank you. And to all of our viewers, have a great week. We'll be back next week with... I have to mute you. I'm sorry. I'm echoing. We'll be back next week with a POTUS report. We are not sure if we're going to be in DC, what our schedule is, but obviously you'll find out when we start live streaming. And, you know, it's really important to keep our Road to the White House fund drive going, or we can't make it to the White House, and tell you the story the way it is, without spin, without a controlled fairy tale agenda that paints a picture in a story that's a fairy tale. So I'm there and I can firsthand tell you what was said and what does that mean. So, you know, which you can figure out yourself. But I think, you know, like I said last week, they tell a story, the stock market drops and it gets shorted. So, you know, there's an agenda. It's not for you, trust me. But mine is, you know, I don't have, my only agenda is for the people. And if the people support GoldFish Report, then, you know, we're there doing a service for you. And it's a struggle. There's, you know, we're really being censored big time. All of the reports from the White House have been considered violating community standards or not in agreement with community standards on Facebook. Even posting executive orders has been removed saying violating community standards or goes against community standards on Facebook. Posting the transcript from the Comey testimony was removed, Facebook citing that it was against community standards. This is ridiculous, folks. So this is obviously not even, this is not a human being making these decisions. It clearly shows this is an AI. This is some sort of algorithm that's pulling certain key terms. And, you know, and it's censoring everything. It's getting very broad. So, you know, have that red pill conversation, with your family if you can, one way or the other, because like Winston said, you're either going to get the red pill or they're going to get the suppository, and I'm sure they'd much prefer that red pill. Don't you think so, Scott?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So please donate to Louisa and the GoldFish Report. Keep her alive because we need her information. We need it.
We need to be out there, folks. So thanks a lot, Scott. We'll see you all. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you all next week. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.